Hey guys, what is up? This is Time Foss as usual, and in my last video, I'll be taking a look at this thing. So let's get to it. And this time I don't have an intro because I want to get this video done really quick. As you can see, if I scroll to the left here, you can see I have a lot more Gunpla to review, and I just want to get it done this whole day. So there will be no intro, and I will be splitting this video into two parts, I think. So let's just get to it then. Getting the box out of the way for a second. And in with the Gunpla itself. Now I just lowered the level of the camera just so you can see that the Earthree, or specifically the Core Gundam, is basically really small. And with that in mind, I'll just get into the size comparisons. So as usual, this is the Core Gundam and this is the normal size Granddaddy RX-78-2. And as you can see there, the Core Gundam is not that tall compared to a standard size high grade. Even though the Core Gundam is supposed to be inspired by the Granddaddy. Also side by side with the first grade Exia. And of course next to Ultraman Ginga and also Lego Spider-Man. I'm changing up the format of the video because obviously this thing is gonna be a short one, so no pun intended. So let's just get into it. Now the Core Gundam itself is really dang cool. I've built two of these. This is the second one. I built the Mars 4 before it. And as I spin this thing around, it's not panel lined yet because this is just a straight build with all the stickers applied. So if you want to see the content of the stickers and the build, the parts, you can go look at the unboxing video in the link in the description below. Now as you can see here, without any panel lines or painting, it does look relatively okay. Although there are some parts you will need to paint, out of the box, it's not that bad. I would advise you to panel line the face because it does look kinda plain. And while we're at the face, let's take a look at the articulation. So the head is on the double ball joint as usual, so it can look up this far and look down this far. And when you look down this far, it kinda looks like the Gundam Age 1, which people don't really like to mention that often because this entire head here looks like the Gundam Age 1 in my opinion. Anyway, this also allows you to get the full rotation, and yes, those seam lines do need work. It also has the chicken movement as one would expect. The shoulders here are connected to a ball joint and a polycap, but the polycap does not swing forwards. Despite that, it does have a little bit of forwards motion right there. Now this connection actually just pops out and it doesn't actually swing forward. It's for the transformation, which I may cover in this video or I make a separate video of. But yeah, you can extend both of these arms, but only useful in the Earthree mode. Now I would advise you to be careful because these things can get stuck. Anyway, the arm can rotate at 360 as usual. The bicep can rotate, also known as a swivel. And the double joint at the elbow is pretty much perfect. There you go. It's a 180 band, double jointed. You can't go wrong with it. And the hands are standard ball socket wrist. They do a lot of this and of course every swivel. Now the waist is connected to a ball joint and peg combo as most Gunpla do. So you can expect it to rotate, but it kind of gets limited due to the front part here. So yeah, rotation is kind of limited. And we're speaking of rotation, I forgot to mention the backpack. These things are connected to a swivel joint, which allows you to flip them up if you want to. But the Core Gundam doesn't usually do this. They always stay down, unless if it's Earthree we're talking about here. The front skirts, you may think they don't move, but they can move, although it's a bit hard to access, and there you go. Now, one thing though, you can separate this, which most people don't talk about. You can separate it. I decided not to because this is just a straight build. I just want to get this video done. So yeah, they move up. And of course, the legs are connected to a swivel joint or universal joint. So the kicks forward is pretty much good. And because there's no back skirt or anything, the legs move back this far, which is pretty good. Now, the one thing that most people find an issue with the Core Gundam is the fact that it splits. Even though it has no side skirts, the splits isn't that fully fledged here. As you can see, it's not the fullest splits. And of course, being a thick boy, the thigh swivels are pretty much limitless. There you go. Full rotation. Now the bend at the knee is on a single joint technically, but you do get most of it. There it's a 90-degree bend, but here is also a hinge joint, which you can use as a double jointed knee if you wanted. Now this is useful for the Earthree, not so much for the Core Gundam, because it kind of looks weird, but some people might use that for aesthetic purposes. And they don't move forward, this is all they do. And this is the leg here is also connected to a hinge joint, which allows them to move down as a kind of a toe or feet joint, whatever you want to call it, but they move down this far. And the one thing here is that I'll show you from the front, it has no rotation here, which is understandable why. And lastly, the pivots. Now if you think you would just split it like that, be careful. The Earthree here has a really tight joint which is connected to one of these things, and these things are really hard for you to rotate. And the fact that this is connecting to the foot, it's easy to break because the peg is so small. I would advise you, if you want to do the ankle pivots, you have to hold it like this on the joint there with the feet so that you can access it, and it does not sound good with that click, but you get what seems to be an ankle pivot. Now one thing also to note here is that when you put on the Earthree armor, you have to make sure this is actually straight so that it can connect with the feet. And yeah, this is a very tight joint, and yeah, that's all the possibility that the Core Gundam has. So overall, the articulation on the Core Gundam is pretty scary, but also pretty solid. The one thing I have issue is the ankle pivots. As I said earlier, you have to be really careful so that you don't break anything. As for accessories, the Earthree and the Core Gundam, they come with the beam sabers in the flat style, similar to that of the Gundam below and the Gundam Age style beams. They're flat and they have a square peg there. Now the reason why they're still on the runner is that I said usually, like I said in the beginning of the video, I want to make this quick. So yeah, we all know how beam sabers work, so it's kind of pointless for me to show it, but I'll maybe show it in the Earthree or the Mars 4 video, whichever comes first. Next up, we got the shield. Now yeah, you think the shield pegs in simply, but it has this kind of connection. Now there is a flip out segment here, which is kind of hard to access. Now hold up. Yeah, you get that flip out little peg there. Now, this is for you to allow it to peg onto the back of the Core Gundam, but because the adapter is still in the box and the box is far away from where I'm reviewing, I can't show you how it works. Just imagine just this thing just on the back. It's simple as that. And to connect the shield onto the Core Gundam itself, there's this peg and it just slides on like so. And one thing to note here, which I forgot to mention, I might as well just pull off the hand and show you. You think these are normal hands, but no. You can actually, if I am able to show this off camera, they're actually able to be separated. And this is the issue here. Because this will basically wear off, you're gonna have to be careful when you put the accessories. You can't just push it in because you will eventually lose this tiny little piece there. Now before I continue, yes, you do get the beam rifle, aka the beam spray gun, accurately named. It has a sticker right there for the sight, and it fits into the hand pretty much solidly. And with these accessories on, yes, the Earthree is now ready to do some damage, I guess. It's kind of hard to take serious for a kid like this. It's really small, and the way he holds the shield from this angle, it doesn't look that bad from this angle though. I would suggest you wait for the Earthree to make it look much more better, but overall, I just want to say the verdict for right now. The Core Gundam is really small, it's solid, also the ankles are fragile. The accessories, yeah, they are what they are, beam rifle, shield, and beam sabers, the standard armaments. Now, the one thing I would tell you is that there is no separate Core Gundam available. If you want to get the Core Gundam, you're gonna have to buy its armors as well. But I do know that the armors, which is basically the Mercu 1 armor, is sold separately. So yeah, If you want a Core Gundam, you're gonna have to buy the whole set, that is. And considering that there is a Core Gundam Mark II, you have the options of getting this one or the new one from Season 2. Now, do I recommend this kit? Well, I can't tell you the full verdict yet because we haven't taken a look at its armor, which comes in the form of the planet system, aka the Earthree armor. So yeah, this is the end of part 1 of the video, the Core Gundam. In the second part, I will take a look at the Earthree armor and the transformation and its articulation with its accessories. And of course, subscribe for that second part. I know you don't want to miss it. I'll see you soon.